Hello everybody and welcome to part 2 of my Florida trip experience. There was going to say something in the last part, but where I ended off is where we were going to load the bus. Anyways, so with the buses, we had all our luggage and stuff, so we headed off to this lady. I forget if it was this bus ride or was like some other bus ride, but like one of the times, like, this lady was just chucking the stuff in there. She's just like, chugging it full force into the thing. Like, you do know that there's, like, men who pack, like, cologne and fragrances, glass fragrances in there? Like, seriously? And there's also, like, some other glass stuff, like, potentially easily fragile stuff, and you're just gonna yank it onto the bus? I didn't have any stuff of that, and if I did, it was, like, really protected in, like, a bag, but still, come on, whatever, that's besides the point. We had to give her luggage, and it was under the bus, because it was, like, one of those buses where they have, like, a little storage compartment underneath, and it was, like, the same buses the entire time. Anyways, so what I had to do was, I really didn't know where to sit, because, you know, we don't have our fourth man, Alfred, yet, so I'm basically all alone, but I decided to sit to my other friend. I don't think I've ever mentioned him, so I guess I'll mention him now. What's a good little name for him? Alejandro. So Alejandro here is short, doesn't shut up about Mexicans, makes very, very, very racist jokes, like he will just casually yell, "Let's nuke Iran" in the middle of a band room. Yes, he does that all the time. I don't know why, like, yeah, he's weird and annoying, and I have no idea why I'm still kind of friends with him, but I feel too bad to end the friendship because we've been friends since forever. He just changed for some reason, and I don't know why. Anyways, I'm not trying to, like, depress all you guys, you guilt trip. I'm sorry about that. Anyways, I just needed to describe Alejandro for y'alls, so that's why I had to sit next to. That wasn't assigned, but I just chose to sit next to him, mainly because I was next to Steve and Ted, but they were playing Game Pigeon the entire time, and I think every single one of you is an Apple user, like, and guess what? I'm an Android user, so do I got that luxury? No. Which is why you don't see me, like, scrolling down to, like, a screen recording button, which is why I'm not using, like, X Recorder or something. I'm so grateful that I know how to use this. Even though my phone's screen recording can suck sometimes, like, randomly crashing, it not saving your screen recording like it did with my Sinless Ash 100% tempt, I am still salty about that. I'm getting off track here. But yeah, these kids were playing Game Pigeon the entire time, which is Apple exclusive, so I couldn't even join them. So it's really just, all the bus rides were just me going insane, just scrolling, like, Twitter or something. I don't know. They're all uninteresting. Nothing interesting happened. Besides, like, the only interesting thing that happens on the buses are this one woman just talking about all the announcements and taking attendance. So, yeah. I think there's, like, one interesting thing eventually, but I'll get to that later. So, basically, we take the bus, and now we are... The bus goes all the way to Disney Springs. So, for all my non-Disney kids, what Disney Springs is Disney Springs is a glorified shopping mall. And that's what I really got from being there twice, as you'll see later. But for now, it's Disney Springs. So we get off the bus, we regroup by this, like, bus stop, and Steve's like, okay, Steve and not my friend, the tour guide guy. He's like, follow me! I don't know if I mentioned him having, like, this plastic lightsaber that he used to guide us. It worked, but it was some of the stupidest thing. We also had, like, a bald guy one time. I know it was in an event, but I'll probably bring this up later. But he also had one of those plastic lightsabers. I don't know, the tour company's like, hey, take one of these crappy plastic lightsabers we got from Disney, because they're, like, based in Florida, so I think that would make sense. Like, they probably do, like, mostly, like, Disney World trips, so yeah, I think that's probably something. Anyways, I'm really getting off track anyways. I always get off track. Anyways, so Steve, like, leads us, and guess what happens? It starts raining really bad. And should you be surprised? No, it's Florida. It rains 24/7, and it goes on and off. It could be downpours for 7 minutes, and then it could be nice, sunny the rest of the day. That's how Florida is. I mean, and I'm used to Florida weather, even though I've only been there for a total of 5 days. And guess what? That's how long the trip was. So basically, me, Steve, and Ted were always sticking together in the rain, is following this Steven guy to the middle of nowhere, downpours. And did I mention that before there we had to get through security, and like some kids get stopped? And let me tell you about this one guy who I'll call I don't know, I'm just gonna call him saxophone section leader Ted. So this guy literally gets stopped at every single security stop, except for when coming into Animal Kingdom on Saturday. So yes, I did spoil it. We go to Animal Kingdom on the last day, but yes, he got stopped at security every single time, TSA included. I just feel so bad for him. And then the usual Steve and Ted. I think Steve got stopped twice. Ted got stopped a lot as well. Mainly at Disney. I don't think he ever got stopped at TSA. And I got stopped at TSA once. That was the only time I got stopped by security all trip. But yes, we had to get into consideration that we also get to get through security. And then this guy was leading us into the middle of nowhere. And we finally arrive at this random pier dock location. He's like, okay, meet back here at 4:30. So we have an hour to explore this glorified shopping mall. So for the next hour, me, Steve, and Ted were just exploring the place. And then we also saw the Rainforest Cafe, which is where we will be eating dinner for the night. Though, I hope I can get to this part. Anyways, so something that's really funny I want to mention now is that the tour company gave everybody drawstring bags. They're like, okay, you guys can take one if you want, because not everybody has their carry-on with them right now. They probably left them in their suitcases, but I didn't. I had my freaking carry-on with me. It was glued to me the entire trip. I mentioned this in the last episode, but it was glued to me, so it didn't matter. But Steve and Ted took it for some reason. Now these kids are semi-geniuses because it's stupid, but what they did was, with the drawstring bags, they would use them as hats, because these kids did not have a poncho. I did, and my poncho ripped 2 seconds in, so it was basically useless, and I was just looking like a stupid idiot the entire time, while these kids had drawstring bags as hats, and it was the stupidest thing ever. I literally have Steve with it on his head. I think I could I actually might show the picture right here, right now. It's probably on screen right now. But so it's just literally us exploring a shopping mall. We didn't really even get anything. We were just exploring all these different shirts. There's Lululemon, and then we found out a fun fact that I guess I could tell the fun fact because I need something to make this part interesting. The creator of Lululemon named it Lululemon. So it's the Chinese can't pronounce it. So if you ever see a video of a Chinese person pronouncing it, it probably goes Lululemon. And that's what Ted said, the second thing. The second Steve brought that up, Ted was Lululemon. It was kind of funny, not gonna lie. It's fucked up, but it was kind of funny. Anyway, so that's really all we did. Except running into the bossy, annoying section leaders. That's something else that in a motorcycle shop. Anyways, the big thing is Ron Jon Surf Shop. Now, the second we found it, it was peak. We knew that we wanted to buy something from this, because we already knew that we were going to come back here. And we're like, okay, nothing interests us, but we already knew that something was special about Ron Jon Surf Shop. Ron Jon Surf Shop, Orlando, Florida. It's peak. It's peak. And now they have an escalator coming up, but there's no coming down from an escalator. So that's Ron Jon Surf Shop for you. Anyways, that's literally the only interesting happened. Now, dinner time. We meet back at this random, like, place. And so it's time to eat some dinner. We go to the Rainforest Cafe. And basically we're just kind of standing in, like, the store part of the place, if you ever been there at Disney Springs, because there was like a store part and then the actual like restaurant cafe part. We were like standing there for 30 minutes until we were finally got into the cafe. And then so when we got to sit down, we were sitting with like Steve and Ted's saxophone friends, so there was no room for me and Ted, so we were just kind of standing there until the adults, who had 2 extra seats, because me and Ted were not trying to sit with, like, the freaking teachers. The only person I would actually sit with was Mr. T, who I mentioned in the last episode. So, yeah, we were just, like, confused there until, like, oh, wow, let's move to the circle table where, like, while we were actually going to sit until it got full. And then, yeah. So they swept there, and then we swapped at this booth. And what happened the entire time is that they bought in food. They bought in some nachos, tasted like ass. Secondly, they brought in some salad. Mom not trying that shit. Thirdly, they brought in some chicken tenders and fries. Like, I didn't even realize that they put down the food, so I'm like, so I thought this one kid, he had a chicken tender still, and I thought that was like the place, and I thought that was a leftover chicken tender, so I kind of stole it from him, and I'm like, oh shit, that's his, and he's like, you can have it, and I felt so bad, and that's something I still feel bad about, like, and I didn't even get to say thank you. I think I did, but I don't think I most likely did say thank you. It's just that what happened was that Steve didn't hear me. He's like, on behalf of Pokebro, he doesn't have a British accent, I'm just saying that because he doesn't shut up about you being European. On behalf of Pokebro, I say thank you. So yeah, that was like, honestly, all I had for dinner was some fries, which I managed to get from like the actual plate, and some nachos. That's literally my dinner, and water. Yeah, the food was so ass, and it was so boring, except for, surprise, surprise, Alfred showed up. Yeah, Alfred, he's here. Time to describe Alfred. Alfred's short, buff, and really annoying. That's all you really know about him. He was just kind of a spare man. Like, he's like the only person that we could actually get into the room with. Honestly, big mistake by Steve and Ted. Actually, I was the last person to join their group, so I don't know. I think they already knew that they wanted me in there. This is my, like, little theory here. They already knew that they wanted me there, but then they're like, fine, we'll just ask little Alfred here, Angry Chihuahua, as, like, everyone likes to say, to be in the group. So, that's the only reason why he's there. And a funny thing that happened there is that he had water on his phone, and his like his dad was like arguing, and they're like, how do I get the water out? But you stupid, you stupid. It was stupidly hilarious. I tried not to laugh. Anyways, I literally have 7 seconds, so bye.